This is probably the best provision in this executive order. Retaining property ownership and moving a temporary house onto your property while the rebuild goes on is a great option for these property owners, and I highly recommend people take advantage of this. But you'll be able to stay on your property and even oversee the rebuild. You'll be able to protect the construction materials. It'll be a deterrent for a lot of predatory activities during some of these rebuilds. So hello and welcome to Raw Architecture. My name is Andrew Hernandez. I'm a California licensed architect. And today I want to go over the Karen Bass Executive Order. The executive order is related to the LA fires, obviously. So we're going to go over some of the key points. I'm going to put the link in the description to the executive order itself. And then I'm going to go over some of the key items that I'd noticed when I was reading through it. Okay, now on to the topic of the day. We're going to review Karen Bass's executive order. And it says here to clear the way for Angelenos to rebuild their homes fast. I'm not sure how this covers commercial and industrial projects, zoned projects, but at least for now, this covers the residential projects that were the most severely impacted in. So let me switch scenes here. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it word for word. I'm just going to skip to the parts that I found interesting and I found kind of important to share with everybody. So here we go. Firestorm that ignited January 7th. Destroyed thousands of homes, and it continues. Okay, so this order ensures impacted City of Los Angeles residents can rebuild their homes, confirms local waiver of California Environmental Quality Act review, waives local discretionary review processes. Local discretionary reviews are homeowners associations, any other almost like, I guess, village or local focused areas, neighborhoods that have their own design guidelines. Those review processes are being waived. We scroll down here, cleanup efforts. They kind of discuss the debris removal, and they're basically assembling a team to coordinate that. It's going to take a bit of time to do so because some of the fires are still being put out as of January 18th, 6 a.m. on January 18th. A lot of people still don't even have access to their sites. So the sequence of events that's going to happen is basically the city is going to clear the streets. They're going to give access to the residents, and then the residents will be able to call their insurance company, and the insurance company will be able to come and visit the site. But I want you to watch my 5 steps video first before you allow anybody on the site, and even before you sift through the debris of what was once your house or was once your business, because you need to document everything. It's going to be a very challenging thing to do, but you need to document everything before you sift through debris, because the insurance company is not going to document it the same way that you're going to document it. So check the link in the description for that video and go to step number 5. It'll explain a little bit more what you should be doing as far as documenting. Okay, watershed hazards. So another thing that the city is going to try and do is, while they clean up the streets, because we're in the winter time right now, it's more of a rainy season, they're going to try and make sure that the rain doesn't start washing all of the debris into the storm drain system, clogging it and further causing other issues, because a lot of storm drains do drain out to the ocean. So they're going to try to mitigate all of that debris from infiltrating those systems, these storm drain systems, and to the water. And next we have rebuilding. The rebuilding process. Okay, for rebuilding, disaster recovery permitting center. Establish a special permitting center in impacted burn areas with representatives from all departments in coordination with county, state, and federal authorities, as well as the Small Business Administration. And by departments, it means building departments, development services department. And this center will be operational and staffed by all related departments 7 days a week. So the city is going to open a special permitting center for the fire impacted property owners, and they're going to be running 7 days a week, which is a great sign of good faith on the city, because that means they're very serious about getting everybody rebuilt as fast as humanly possible, which is still going to take a very long time. But opening a specific center separate from the LA City building department is actually a really good idea. We'll see how they execute on it. It also being open 7 days a week is a massive win. Okay, here, expedited permit review. I further direct all applicable city departments to conduct and conclude all of the city's initial building permit reviews That means everything that's being reviewed right now is going to be put on an expedited review process, which means they're probably internally going to be working 7 days a week. They're going to be bringing people in on the weekends to review the already active permit applications so they can clear the lines for these new permits that are going to be coming in, which is great. Again, we'll see how they execute. So that's good here. So number 5, I further direct all applicable city departments to process clearances and utility releases related to building permit applications, certificates of occupancy, or temporary certificates of occupancy within 5 business days for all rebuild projects. Basically, they're just going to allow all projects that are near occupancy, ready for occupancy, or just waiting for the utilities to be turned on. Let's say an apartment building is already built and they're just waiting on the water, or they're waiting on power to energize the site. That's basically what that's related to. They're saying, get this done, turn on the power. We need to open these apartments, we need to open these units so that these people that have been displaced can start occupying those areas, even if it's not substantially complete. This right here, eligible projects. So who's eligible for this wildfire impacted specific permit review, expedited review, and all of the items that are covered in this executive order. So an eligible project shall be a project to repair, restore, demolish, or replace a structure or facility substantially damaged or destroyed by the wildfires, which meets all of the following criteria. A structure or facility to be repaired, restored, demolished, or replaced is in substantially the same location as it existed immediately prior to the wildfires. Basically, whatever was there before, you can rebuild it again. It'll be required to be current code, but there's going to be a lot of room for improvement. Okay, B, the structure or facility being replaced does not exceed 110% of the floor area, height, or bulk of structures or facility existing immediately prior to the wildfires. They're going to take Google Street View and they're going to kind of do estimates. They probably have a lot of city records of buildings that were there before, so they're going to use those if they have time to compare them. They're probably going to use a lot of Zillow or title reports or any property related documentation to establish what the prior floor area was. And so you can increase your floor area by 10%, which is kind of nice because a lot of these houses were built in this 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they were quite small. A lot of the garages are very small. So that extra 10% is going to end up being, 1,500, 2,000. So it'll be like 150, 200 square foot increase, 250 square foot increase to your house, which is great. It's going to increase the value once it's done as well. So think about that 10% increase as a huge valuation jump in your property. All right. And then we have project shall be for the same use as the last structure. So we can't just go from commercial use to an industrial use, or you can't just change from a residential house that was maybe on the corner and change it to a commercial use. And they're giving you a little bit of a 10% bump to increase your square footage. And project obtains building permits for repair or construction in 7 years from issuance of this order, and the work is complete within 3 years. So you basically have 7 years to rebuild, which is a long time. So again, like I said in my 5 steps you can take right now video, I said do not sell, just wait to see what your options are. Educate yourself, do your homework. This is part of that. You need to do your homework. You need to wait until you see what options you have. Because yes, it might take a long time for you to rebuild your house, but if you have 7 years, that's a long time to really contemplate and really gather your funds and gather the insurance funds and get the insurance component of that established. So maybe the insurance can't cover 100% of it, but they can cover 80% or 70% of the rebuild. So you have to come up with 30%. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of loan programs available to those impacted by the fires. So just hold off on selling and go check out that other video for the other 5 steps, and you will be well on your way to getting through this process, okay? Getting through this time. All right, moving on. Eligible project review provisions. Waiver of discretionary review processes. Applicants for eligible projects shall be and hereby are deemed exempt from city discretionary review processes otherwise required in Chapter 1 or any plan, policy, or guideline adopted pursuant to the LA Municipal Code, including but not limited to the Pacific Palisades Village Specific Plan and the Pacific Palisades Village Design review board guidelines. Man, I mean, can we get it together with these review boards? Okay, so you're exempt. If you're in the Pacific Palisades area, you're exempt from any discretionary reviews, but this goes along and supports the repair and replace aspect to this whole executive order. So because you're just replacing what was already there previously, in their mind, these discretionary reviews are not necessary at this time, but we'll see how that plays out. Okay, moving down, coastal zone. So a lot of people have heard of coastal zone, coastal commission, coastal zone. Such eligible projects in the coastal zone shall be exempt from the requirements of the coastal department permit as outlined in Coastal Act section 30610G. Demolition and construction of dwelling units for purposes of rebuilding existing units shall not be considered demolition or new construction. Basically, again, it's repair and replace. Because you're just replacing what was already destroyed, you're exempt from having to go through these discretionary reviews where these bodies can have a severe impact on the design and the intent of the design. So you're exempt from that, which is great. You know, there's going to be a lot of wiggle room to make improvements on your old house and still stay within these guidelines. All electric building code provisions shall be waived for eligible projects. So if you had gas at your house previously and we're going to rebuild your house, you can have gas again. You can have gas stove. LA is one of those cities that is trying to go all electric for new construction, which is, in my opinion, not a good idea. I think natural gas is fine, and it's a good source of energy if it's done correctly. Okay, this is the one I wanted to get to. This is huge. This is big for residents that still own their property. And like I said, this is why you want to hold on to your property. Don't short sell your property, because you have options. You have a lot of options. And this is one of the biggest ones you have. Allowance for recreational vehicles, tiny homes, modular structures, and mobile homes on affected properties during rebuild. On a site with a structure, improvement, or facility substantially damaged or destroyed by the wildfires, the use of recreational vehicles, tiny homes, modular structures, or mobile homes on the site during rebuilding to house displaced residents shall be permitted for up to 3 years. So you'll be able to have a temporary house on your property for up to 3 years, or while an active building permit is applicable to said property, or whichever is longer. So you have 3 years to have temporary housing. During that time, you want to start the rebuilding process, get a permit, or the extension of that permit until that building becomes occupied. You have all of that time, even if it goes over the 3 years, be in the temporary unit, and then you can move back in your house once construction is complete. Additionally, you have the ability to have a storage unit or shed on the property for up to 3 years. So while you have the temporary house, you need more storage, you can have a shed on there as well. There's going to be some utility issues with some of this temporary housing, so that's something that the city's going to have to work out, but this is really great for the residents to have a place to be able to put a temporary house at least on their property and oversee their property. So this is really good. And one more item I wanted to go over and kind of share with my fellow architects. Self-certification. The Department of Building and Safety shall report back within 15 days on what permit reviews could potentially be undertaken as a self-certification procedure by a licensed project architect, such as myself. The eligible projects are limited to reconstruction of a single-family residential structure. Basically, eligible projects, the repair and replace, those projects are going to likely be able to be self-certified. So between you, the property owner, myself, as the licensed architect, and definitely my structural engineer, we'll be able to put a set of plans together, and we just go and do an application at the city. They give us the permit with the self-certification. So that's huge. You won't have to go through the building permit process or review process, and you can go start building pretty immediately as soon as the plans are done, which is going to be a turnkey for me because we knock plans out very, very quickly. So this is really great for self-certification. If it becomes available to us, we'll be able to really turn and burn a lot of these plan sets and get you guys going, get you guys rebuilding. Okay, that's it for this executive order. Thank you for watching. Again, check out the 5 steps video in the description. Check out my website, contact me for a consultation, and you'll be able to at least know what to do moving forward. And we will get you going on the rebuild and what steps to take next.